I should have ended up dead or pregnant. I was just taken advantage of by an upperclassman, basically. But like in front of everybody. I just think God had a little bubble around us throughout high school. Cause like, how did we not get hurt? Or like worse than that, worse than what did happen. I was just like living everything very surface level and like numbing everything. We were numbing a lot of things. Like we just wanted to have fun and just numb the noise. We're in the bathroom, in the women's bathroom, and we're just like getting it on. And then this like is like, she opens the door and she's like, "Are you okay?" Was there a moment you thought, okay, she's not the same girl anymore? You don't have to be embarrassed. It's okay to start fresh and like to not hold that guilt and shame and like baggage on your back.
I didn't think that you would be a good parent, and nobody ever thought that I would ever even be a parent.
You've literally known me through like every season, and we've seen each other through a lot of crazy things. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, Taking Life by the Reins, your favorite. And I'm your host, Brandi Reins. This is...
I'm the favorite.
I'm your favorite. This is my childhood best friend, Alexa Ricks, the one and only. Lil Lexi Boo 22. Lex Ricks. Chex Ricks. Chex Ricks.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So we were like, do we wear like real life clothes? But
I don't ever wear.
No, literally, Alexa graduated a year before me, and their entire like class of girls never ever dressed up except for Casey, our best friend Casey. Like she was the only one in the whole class that dressed up. So much so that the guys, so they graduated in 2009. I graduated in 2010, but I always hung out with like everyone in her grade. The guys called them Sweatpants 09 because that was like bun.
I know, we all went to dinner recently.
We all wore our hair, and who did?
All the girls from Sweats 09. And we were like, are we like, Casey, of course, is like, are we wearing like really fancy clothes?
You're like, no. You're like, but do you, boo? As always. Wait, no, this is like the signature bun. I actually think that you started this bun, and everyone makes fun of me for it. But this is like your bun.
Yeah, I wore that to school every single day.
Literally. Okay. So I have shared a lot about my life so far, and I try to give my perspective of like who I was before all of this. And I actually feel like when we go to like dinner and like when we talk, we get like, we always end up talking about like the past and like where we came from. And it's just crazy. Just to be able to see like the last, I would say 15 years of my life from an outside perspective. I'm sure she has like such a different perspective than I do of it. But it is cool to know like I still am really close with somebody that's seen me in all of the different areas of my life and has like witnessed the good, the bad, the ugly, the obnoxious, the real, the raw. Honestly, I think so. Do you ever feel like whenever you're around me, you have to like realize like I'm not that I'm a different person now, but like I think I am.
You are a different person. I mean, you're still you.
Like a little. Just a little tinge. Anyways, I've talked a lot about healing. I've talked a lot about my childhood trauma. I've talked a lot about confidence and like what you have to do to get to that place in your life. And so I thought it would be cool. And we haven't had a guest on the podcast yet, to have Alexa on. We're just going to ask her, we're just going to like fire rapid questions and kind of see where this goes. So first question I'm going to ask is, what was I like? This is like a really loaded question. What was I like in middle school / high school? But really.
But
I feel like you can give like context, maybe like, I don't know, what like when we met and then we became close, because that was like 2 different times. So I don't feel like
because we met at dance.
Yes.
But I didn't really know you the first year. I don't even know who you were friends with on the team because we were on 2 separate teams.
Yeah, I was on junior.
Or no, we were on junior together.
Do we call it junior?
Yeah.
You, Maria, and who else? And Dorothy were like the captains of the squad, and you were like the young one. Did we say squad?
Yeah, sure. Team.
We didn't say squad. Squad sounds crazy. You guys were like the captains, and I was like a little piglet.
Yeah, not a piglet. You were an itty bitty thing.
I didn't mean I was fat when I said Piglet. Piglet, he's like cute. He's like a cutie.
Oh, I know.
Do you think Piglet means fatty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you were actually like itty bitty.
Okay.
No, but you were like the baby of the team.
Yes. I think I was in 5th grade
Probably.
and you guys were in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like
No, 6.
No, you were 2 years ahead of me. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. But yeah, we weren't friends.
No. I think I just like looked up to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I would say we became close my 8th grade summer.
Yeah, my freshman year
of high school.
Yeah. But like knowing, like remembering you on the dance team, like I don't feel like I knew you really. You were just like the little dancer who was like trying. You weren't cool yet.
You think I'm cool?
You're so cool.
Okay. So we met through dance. We were on the best dance team.
We were.
Actually, it's so cool because her daughter does competitive dance and
there's so many moms that are like still.
I know.
That we dance with.
It was just like I think we have always bonded on like our home life has always been really chaotic. And I feel like dance.
Like how deep will we get?
I mean, I think we go for it.
Thank you.
I think dance was like our home away from home, honestly. And like Lori was like our coach was like our mom. Kelly was like our mom. Like, I don't know. We had very different, like chaotic backgrounds in life. Like what we came from was, I think we just related on like, we really love it here.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I could remember. Like when did we first hang out?
I know.
I feel like weird. I hung out with our friend Katelyn.
Yeah, Katelyn. I really think that that's how we became friends was through Katelyn.
Probably. I mean, guys, I was probably 14. She was a senior and she would take me to parties.
Yeah.
And I would drink a lot.
You would party.
I would party.
When I think of you though, like when I think of before we were friends, you were like a brat.
Yeah, my nickname was Bratty growing up
because it was like I don't want to say it was Brandi's way or no way, but it was just kind of
yeah. Sometimes I still have to call myself out of that, especially in my marriage. Yeah, I would say that's about right. I think probably my freshman year of high school is maybe when we really got close. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you introduced me or not, but we dated brothers.
I'm pretty sure I did.
We're not going to be dropping names of said brothers.
I think I did introduce you. Sorry.
I blame you. Yeah, it was actually like a really chaotic time. Mm-hmm. Man, where do we even go from there? Okay, so the question really is, let's reel this in because we can go down those alleys shortly because I feel like probably we should need to. But like, I was a brat.
You were a brat. You were disrespectful. You
to who?
You were just not nice. You like didn't care.
This is when you first met me.
Yeah, you just
and probably all through high school.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't care. I had nothing to lose.
No, you were disrespectful to adults, teachers, everybody.
Yeah, exposed.
Guys. And I like, why did I love you?
I know this about myself though. I'm
so opposite. Like I'm not that person at all. I'm very well like mannered and kind and respectful. So I don't.
But maybe opposites attract.
I guess
that is true. I definitely felt like nobody was stopping me.
Yeah.
Nobody would like say to me like, oh, you can't act like that. Or maybe you would, but like, you can't say that. But like, I didn't have like any parents telling me like, don't say this. Don't be like this ever.
I feel like thinking back on it, I'm like, I feel like I warned people too. Like, hey.
Oh, like I was the friend who had to warn people? Guys. Okay, I need to pause there really quick though and say, I feel like there isn't enough like Christians in the world that are willing to talk about like
so weird that you say that because I feel like when I was like reading our questions and stuff, I'm like, we didn't really have like I did grow up in the church, and went to church, but we didn't like that was Jesus and church, and none of that was part of our friendship whatsoever.
No.
I don't feel like we
I
had.
mean, neither of us, I mean, we both like would go to church sometimes. I feel like with our families, not really though.
No.
Not in high
No,
school.
not in middle school. Like it was just like when I was.
But it would be like praying for you.
Yeah,
But like,
did you?
no. And I actually, as an adult, that's something that's like my huge pet peeve is when
Me
people
too.
are like, I'll pray for you. And I'm like, no.
Even message
Close your
shifts,
eyes. Prove
message
it.
shifts. I like have to. Like have to step myself.
Yeah.
Like all that.
No, and I think that that is like growth as a Christian. But like also, I think that people think like in order to be like claim you're a Christian or like be close to Jesus, like you had to have like just had this like perfect life and you had to not have an attitude, not have trauma, not have sin, not have things that you did that were like horrible that you would never even say out loud. Like there was a lot of things that I'm like ashamed of from and the good thing is I don't have to be ashamed of it because like Jesus died on the cross for my sins and all of that guilt can go away and that shame and all of it. But like it is crazy like to know who I was. I mean, it was a long time ago, but like as a child growing up,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was like that. You know, I think it was like the baton was passed so many times with me. Like my mom got divorced and then got divorced again. And then like she was single. And it was like there wasn't any like you and I hold our kids accountable and we're like,
yes.
absolutely not. Like
Yes.
both of our kids are like, yes, ma'am, no, sir. But we didn't have that.
No.
We were just living our life. What do you remember most about me back then?
Loud.
Oh my word. That's now too, though.
I know. You can buy it honest.
I think probably my loudness now, though, is like a different.
It is it's very different. You're just like loud, bubbly, and fun now. Back then it was just like loud, obnoxious, loud.
Yeah, you would actually be mean to. I think if anybody you were ever mean to, it was probably me.
Yeah.
Because you were like, shut up. You're so annoying. So, okay, I think we should talk timeline of like, because we grazed over this, but like we met, I was in 5th or 6th grade. We danced together. We knew each other, not well. And then we dated brothers. I think that was our bonding moment. We dated, you were dating the older brother. I was dating the younger brother. We were bad. Like,
drove across states.
I feel like we have to tell that story. It's pretty epic. Right?
Why did we even?
So you were dating the older brother.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to say the names, but I
know.
can't. I can't. That's crazy. He joined the army.
How did we even convince though, like Lori and Amanda to like come with us and take their car?
I don't remember them coming with us.
Yes.
Okay. She wanted to go visit her boyfriend. He had just moved to Missouri.
I don't even remember.
Where is Missouri?
I don't know.
On the map.
I have no idea.
I feel like I want to look up
one and done time. Like we went there and we were like never coming back again.
Okay, USA map. Let's look at where Missouri is. So we lived in Michigan our whole life. We are really doing a bad job at painting this full picture. We grew up in Port Huron, Michigan, lived there our whole lives. We definitely bonded on like, we were just like living in this like bubble of like super rich kids, but we were not.
We were not rich.
No, I mean, but like we kind of like at your house we could pretend because like her mom had this really bougie Mercedes. Yeah. But I always joke around because Alex had to put pillows behind her because she's so short, and her mom couldn't pay to get the electronics on the inside so turned on.
Yeah, I couldn't reach.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're squirreling so bad. All right, wait. Where's Missouri? It's 4 states over from Michigan.
I wonder how long it took us.
I mean, 12 hours.
Really?
Probably if it takes 12 hours to get to Georgia.
I feel like it was further, but yeah.
So we decided to, I guess we convinced 2 of our friends to take their car because I don't think you had a car.
Did I not? I feel like I've always had a car.
I never had a car. You did always have a car.
I don't know why we didn't take my car. Maybe because we were lying about where we were going.
Yes.
And I couldn't put the miles on my car.
So like the dynamic at Alexa's house was like her parents were divorced. Her mom lived in one house. Her dad lived in another house. My mom was obviously a single mom. I've shared that a million times. And we decided to go visit your boyfriend. In the car was me, you, my boyfriend, Lori and Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
No idea what we told my mom. Maybe I said I was staying at my dad's. I have no idea.
Yeah, 100% you were staying at your dad's.
Because he always let me like do things.
Your dad was the fun dad. Daddy Riggs.
Daddy Dave.
Daddy Dave. He definitely came down on us for that though.
Oh yeah, he did. He got mad.
So we drove all night to Missouri, got a one hotel room because we were broke.
Yeah.
We were
I wonder how we
high
even paid for
schoolers.
this.
I don't remember even like where we slept, how it worked out.
I don't know.
Surely like your boyfriend paid for it because he was a big boy with a big boy job.
Okay. With his big boy pants on. Probably. Maybe.
Okay, so the lie is that I told my mom and you told your dad that we were going to Cedar Point.
Mm-hmm.
Cedar Point was like the place to go.
So it's believable.
Is it still a thing?
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Have your kids gone
Yeah.
to ride the roller coasters?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Like the big ones, they rode them?
Yeah, Alon loves them. I won't watch or ride.
Wow, I want to go. Anyways, I'm afraid to go because I think that that's like one of like the gem moments of my childhood. And I'm scared that I'll go back and it'll be like, this was what was cool to me. You know,
your
like,
kids will love it.
you know what I mean though?
Yeah.
When you're like, something was so grand and cool as a kid and then you go and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We cannot spit the story out. We told our parents we were going to Cedar Point. We were driving to Missouri. Your dad, how did they catch wind?
I think your mom called to talk to my dad because we
Right.
told your mom that my dad took us.
Okay. And we said, Dave is on a roller coaster right now. He can't talk.
Then a few hours go by
Yeah.
and she calls again.
And I
we're
said,
like,
he's sick from
sick.
the roller
He's throwing
coaster.
up from the roller coaster. Then my dad calls, Alexa, why am I throwing up from a roller coaster right now?
I feel like you need to hear his voice though, because he has this like, it kind of sounds like his nose is plugged when he's saying it. Because we're from Michigan, so like that's pretty normal. That was the funniest.
Was it funny? I don't think at the time. I think at the time I think my advice was, we're already here, so what can they do? Let's have fun. Because I was like,
You're right.
I was
You're
not a
right.
good influence.
Okay, so got home. That was when like I had like a flip phone still, and I remember. No, that was when you could like start tracking cell phones.
Yeah, I was never tracked.
But like when they tracked you, it would just be like a circle, like, oh, they're in this 2-mile radius, and you lived really close.
Oh yeah, we lived like 2 seconds away from each other.
Well, but then I also remember at one point it was like close enough to where I could say, like, I think our boyfriends moved to the north end of town near your dad's house at some point during then. And so I could say I was at your house, but I was at their house.
Yes.
And I mean, it was crazy. Like, I feel like we were like married, not married, but like,
we stayed with them all the time.
yeah. Where were our parents?
I don't know.
I want to give my younger self a spanking and put me in timeout.
I know. There's no way.
I mean,
My kids will never do anything that I did.
I know.
Ever.
Well, and you know, so that was probably our bonding moment because like we would go to parties with them.
Mhm.
We would go hang out at the gas station. Remember we used to go to the mobile gas station?
Oh yeah, and they
hang out
would
with
like
them?
race cars.
Losers. I'm just kidding.
Back then, it was so much fun. Like,
No, it was so fun. And we felt like we were so cool. I felt like,
yeah.
Okay. And then that was what? Through 10th grade, my 10th grade year. And then we were like single
We would have
girls.
parties at my dad's
Oh my word.
in the basement.
We would party with your dad
Yeah.
and his
Oh gosh, Leanne.
girlfriend,
remember?
Leanne. Remember?
Dave, I'm sleeping with the girls.
Yeah. One time we were like laying in bed. All of a sudden it's like middle of the night and this woman just jumps on top of us. It's her dad's amazing young girlfriend. I actually we ended up loving her.
We did end up loving
But
her.
she was
that
like
night,
not that much older than us.
No, that night I was like, get her away from me.
She jumped on us. She was like, Dave, I'm sleeping with the girls.
Absolutely not.
And you were like, get out of here. I'm pretty sure we were in your dad's bed though.
We were.
Yeah, that sounds weird though.
It
To
does.
say he wasn't getting in the house. Let's be clear here. Nothing weird happened there. Okay. So then, I mean, I think my junior year, your senior year was a super fun year.
Mm-hmm.
Like the crazy thing about our high school where we grew up, we had a sorority.
I was just going to say, didn't you go through like the hazing?
Yes.
I
Katelyn
was
hazed.
not.
The friend that introduced us hazed me, like got me up in the middle of the night. My mom let her, took me to this field with all these other girls. They dumped all this sticky stuff all over us. They were like rubbing it in our hair, like honey, juice.
Yeah, I never went through that.
Then they dumped all the smelly stuff like tuna fish and mustard and like pickle juice and like you name it. And then they dumped cat litter on us and mud and dirt. Like
Never.
it was embedded into my soul.
Okay, but LRT dances?
They were fun, but
They
that
were-
was not worth it for me. You didn't have any of that done?
No, I didn't join.
My mom wouldn't even let me in the house. She had to hose me off outside. She was like, absolutely not. But like, okay, so we had this sorority,
Mm-hmm.
but why?
Ladies at the round table. I don't know. To have cool dances, I guess.
I mean, we
outside
would
of-
have what? We would have like LRT glow or like a
Halloween.
theme. Halloween. That was always so fun.
So much fun.
But like, it was literally a bunch of teenagers,
Drunk.
super drunk, taking
With,
a party
like,
bus.
No clothes on.
Taking a party bus. I mean, genuinely, when I tell you, like, thank God I was delivered. Cause like I should have ended up dead or pregnant.
Yeah.
Like easily.
For sure.
We would take party buses to these unchaperoned dances. There wasn't chaperones, was there?
I don't think so.
Or like the cool moms or the chaperones.
I don't think I don't know. Like somebody had to be taking the money at the door.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, but it was bad.
I don't think they have it anymore.
I don't think so either.
I think it
Well, we
became,
would have like a
illegal.
formal dance. Like those were the dances we look forward to, not like homecoming and prom.
No.
Although we did still do
Prom.
homecoming wasn't that exciting at all, but prom was, I feel like, cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy because the girls like locally to me here where I live now, they don't go to prom. Like they
Why?
get dressed up, they get flowers, they take pictures, they go to dinner, and then they just go to parties. They don't go to prom.
Oh.
Like they don't go dance, which I think is wild because I
that's-
feel like we did.
Yeah, we danced a lot.
Yeah, inappropriately. Honestly, like I do believe we could have had like a TV show of like our small home trashy town.
Yeah. You don't remember? Do you remember like the parties at Jessica Preston's house?
Yeah, or Daniel Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like crazy. Like we would have like bonfires. I had a really crazy experience. I don't even think we were friends at this point in time. My freshman year. Well, I mean, we were friends, but Katelyn had taken me to the party out in the field.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're not going to get into crazy detail on that, but like I was just taken advantage of by an upperclassman, basically, but like in front of everybody.
That's so crazy.
I like, it's weird because I think it is like a moment that I like never have like dug deep on.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild. And I just think God had a little bubble around us throughout high school. Cause like, how did we not get hurt or like
I don't know.
worse than that, worse than
know.
what did happen? Okay. I'm going to come back to our questions. So, cause I feel like, I mean, that's really our timeline. We just met, we dated brothers, and then we partied a lot.
A lot.
But like, you didn't really drink a lot.
No, I didn't.
You were always the DD. You always drove us.
Mm-hmm.
I did drink a lot in high school, and I will tell you, I will not be the cool house that like
No,
kids can
absolutely
drink.
not.
I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I do feel like times are different though.
I do. I do think that like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive to the world and like what kids are doing, but
No, I think it's different. It's sad though. Like a lot of the guys, like all the guys went to high school to like take a Xanax and like drink beer in the parking lot and
A
then
lot
go
of
to
them are-
class.
now dead.
Many are dead or deadbeats.
Yeah.
And it is really sad, like actually. But there are also a lot of successful, I can't dog the whole town. Like
No,
we
they
actually
are.
have a lot of successful people that we went to school with, like stand up amazing people. But it's just like when I say these things out loud, I don't know that it's normal that like people like did as many drugs. I mean, I actually, thank God, have never done drugs.
Me
Like I
either.
never got into drugs, but there were a lot of drugs accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was never interested. I actually was like terrified. Like people would have like mushroom
I
parties.
know. I could never. I'm always like, what if I die?
Yeah, but it
Or
was like so normal for us
I
to be
wouldn't
around
ever want to like not be able to control even,
your like body.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, how did everybody get these things? And it comes down to like everyone had money. I mean,
Yeah,
people
they
drove
all-
like Hummers. They drove,
Lexus, Mercedes,
you name
all
it.
the things.
You name it. I mean, and I think that I will say this. I think we danced around trouble often. Like there was the one time we were in our friend Chris's Hummer.
You're talking about, oh, and we got called down to the office like the next day.
Yes. We
Yeah.
literally were in his Hummer. I don't remember where we were going, like a party or something. We pulled up.
I think we went to the party store for somebody to get us liquor.
Right. And our ex's older brother was pulled up next to us and
Mhm.
thought it would be funny to like shoot off a gun in the air.
Yeah.
It was like, well, there's cameras. And but why were how did they even know we were there? Did we go into the store?
I have no idea.
We must have went into the store. Anyways, our principal called us.
Yeah, which it was like it was like a weekend, nowhere near their school.
Yeah, but
they
I
like
think like they
wanted
had
to
to figure
know
out
like who
why
had
we
the
were
gun.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we tell them?
I don't think so.
Maybe we shouldn't put this out there then.
Ben.
Ben. No, I think it's fine.
Okay. Come and catch me.
But like the reality is like we were so close to like that was
Getting in
dangerous.
trouble. Yeah.
Also, I mean, whatever. I'm not scared of like a gun, but like we were just so close to it, but like I feel like protected from it somehow.
Yeah.
And there were just so many scenarios like that. Not like that, but like parties we went to where cops would show up.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that earlier. Do you remember the party that we went to? And literally the cop was like running everybody. And he came to me because he was like, who's driving you to? And I said, me. And my license was expired and I didn't know. So he pretended that the breathalyzer machine was broken for you. You were like, Alexa, I was literally blowing numbers across. And he said,
and
it's
he let
okay,
me-
just get out of here.
Yeah, and he
you had to
sent me-
drive.
But you were like, scoot over. I'm taking over.
I know. I'm like, you can drive like
No,
one
the
block.
cop literally was like trying to help us out. I
Yeah.
mean, we should have gotten in
Because
trouble.
we should have not been there.
Why was your license expired?
Not paying my speeding tickets. I don't know.
I love that for you. Okay, let me come back to the questions. We just went down the rabbit hole, but like that's our high school days in a nutshell. And then like really quickly before I go to these questions, after high school when I moved to Disney, you like helped me move down to Disney. She flew down with me. I would come back like regularly. We would hang out, and then there was like a time period where we kind of didn't.
I feel like when you went to Vegas.
Yeah, I was like kind of a gypsy at that point. Like we didn't talk a lot during that
Mm-mm.
period of time. But
No.
then also we did talk like when I had Riley
Yeah.
and when you had Alon, like I came and saw him. But
Mhm.
then I don't think I came and saw you when you had Vea. And I think
No, I
it was
think you
because I was
did.
did I?
Yeah, you did. That's when. Yeah, you did.
That's when what?
I invited Carlina over to come see you too.
Are you stopping yourself from saying something right now?
So,
Okay, because I don't remember.
yeah, you came to my house. She stopped over too.
Okay, so I met Vea as a baby.
Mhm.
Okay, but then that like next 2 years,
We
we
didn't, yeah.
just, I think we were in the military moving around a lot. We were both having babies. You were figuring out your life.
Still figuring it out.
It's getting there. Okay. Yeah. But now full circle, you work with us full time
Mm-hmm.
and you get to travel around and you have your kids and she homeschools them, which is amazing.
Yes.
Okay. This question is good. What do you think I was struggling with that I maybe didn't even realize? So I guess probably like,
I think the things that you like point out about yourself now that like built your confidence and all that stuff that you were lacking back then, I don't think you realized your struggles back then. I think that you were maybe embarrassed of like your lifestyle, but I don't think that you knew how rude you came off or how bratty you were, or that it was like I just don't think you acknowledged, like you didn't care.
Yeah. No,
And,
I didn't care.
and
I think I
now
knew. I think I didn't care.
maybe.
I think it was just like, what do I have to lose? Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, nobody, I don't know. It was like I wasn't like letting anybody in. Like I was just like living everything very surface level
But you,
and
I
like
mean,
numbing everything.
yeah, you had some really dark times.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. We were like talking about that the other day of like, or maybe that was today, of just like, I mean, every year in high school, I lived in a different house
Mm-hmm.
because it was like a 1 year lease. They would never let us stay because like we were always late on rent. But I feel like I would come to your house a lot for
Yeah.
like to get away. Not that that was like the most serene getaway because like
Right.
you obviously had struggles like at home too, but yeah, it is weird. I don't think that I don't know. I think I thought my childhood was normal. I almost think when I met Casey, it was when I realized it wasn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'd be like, you know, like when you're in like school and then like you do whatever, like I would just give them an example of like something I did or something I was happened or like, you know, and like you've got to like eat a sandwich before you go back home because you know, like you ain't got no
He's
groceries.
like, no, I don't.
You know, like, and he would just be like, that's really sad. And I'm like, oh, weird. Therapy will help me with that. That's a good one though. I mean, I think that's normal to not know
Yeah.
like your weaknesses in the moment. I'm sure in 10 years, I hope that I can like grow in 10 years and look back and be like, I've changed from it. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Let me look through these. This is hard because I feel like all of these are similar answers.
I think for me, even like you leaving Michigan and just moving to Florida was
Yeah.
like a big girl step. Like it
No,
was,
huge.
and it made me like, that was like a proud moment for you. Cause I was like, okay, she's like really doing this. She's going out there. She's trying out for Disney. She's getting her own place. She's finding roommates. And I was like really proud of you. And I remember like telling people, you know, like she's changing, she's growing up, she's making all these changes. And then um I'm the when you met Casey, I think that's like what really,
Yeah.
even I remember I like talking about it at your wedding. Like it was just like he can handle you so well and like just knows how to get you out of that like
Yeah. Well, I think when you meet the person that like God made for you, it's almost like you want to be better for them.
Mhm.
Like you desire to be like the best version of yourself for them. I mean, probably for me, a little bit of trauma of like, I don't want to lose him. Cause like,
Right.
I mean, I knew from day one. I mean, I literally called
I
you.
know. I was like, are you sure you
I
don't
think I
really
had
know him?
been dating him like 2 weeks, but how many times had I called you before? Like, I like this guy. But I literally, and we were actually talking about this, like, it wasn't a lot because I actually haven't been in a lot of
No.
relationships.
I
Like,
don't
I
think
was
you were never like, this is the one. Like you might have been
never,
like,
never.
oh, I love him, but it wasn't like, it was more of like toxic.
Yes. I mean, I think that comes with the nature of coming from a small town like Port
Yeah.
Huron, Michigan. But I did. I called her and I was like, I'm going to marry this guy. And she was like, really?
You were in New Orleans.
Really?
Yes.
That's so
It's weird that I
funny.
remember that, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, right? Because you like did some crazy things in like a crazy building.
Yeah, we did. Actually, I don't care. I'll say it. We literally.
And I was like, oh, maybe she really.
We were like having a good old time. I mean, Casey doesn't even drink anymore. This is like back in the day. Like drinks were flowing. Like we were living our life. I also think that like as I've gotten older and as I've matured, like being drunk is not. I never desire to be
No.
drunk, like ever. But like back then, again, I think a lot of people, myself included, we were numbing a lot of things. Like
Yes.
we just wanted to like have fun and just numb the noise. But like
Mhm.
this was in 2015. We were like day partying, found ourselves in a bathroom in a national bank, literally doing it.
That was the
And-
story you told me. And then you were like, and I'm going to marry him. Like,
No, literally, we got caught. We didn't just like do it and leave. We got caught. He is going to kill me. But honestly, whatever. What if my kids listen to this one day, though?
one day,
One day. Not anytime
mommy
soon.
and daddy were in love.
We were just smitten.
We were
No,
just
we
making
literally
Riley.
like we're in the bathroom, in the women's bathroom, and we're just like getting it on. And then this lady's like, "Pooh, pooh, pooh." She opens the door and she's like, "Are you okay?" I mean, because I think I was being loud. And then he was like, "We're in the women's bathroom. You have to say something." He's like mouthing it to me. And I'm like, "We're fine." But she can like see his feet,
Oh my gosh.
like in his legs. And so then she closes the door and then we don't stop. I don't know why. And then have I ever told you this full story?
I feel like you did, but I'm not remembering all of this.
So then she comes back in and she's like, excuse me, you should know that you need to leave now because the police are on their way. And we were like, holy crap. And all he could think about was he had already signed up to go to the Coast Guard. And he's like, I can't get in trouble. Like, he goes, I said, okay, we're leaving. And then he goes, whatever you do, don't run. And I literally
Ran.
So he's like, we're like, get our clothes back on. And then he opens the stall door. I just am like scream laughing. I'm like, run as fast as I can out of the bathroom past the lady. I think even something flies out of her hand. I'm running like down the like office where it's like people in cubicles all around me. And there's like, it's like a movie. I swear. Papers are flying. Like I am running and scream laughing. And I'm in like a tank top, shorts, and flip-flops. One of my flip-flops breaks. I'm literally now in one shoe, one flip-flop in New Orleans. Okay.
No.
We're running. And then I get to a stop and he's like, this way. And so I turn and I run to him the other way. And the security guard like stops us. He goes, you guys do not know what you're doing, do you? And we were like, no. And he was like, go this way. He literally opens the door and lets us out the emergency
Seriously?
exit. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like saves our butts. We run down the stairs and we literally like run like blocks and blocks and blocks. I have one shoe on. We're in New Orleans. Like I could
That's
probably
so
get
gross.
like MRSA on my foot.
Merce.
Literally running. That was like our first trip we ever took together.
That sealed the deal.
That really sealed the deal, I guess. I mean, we were wild. Also young. I think we were 22. Oh, do you need to answer?
That's okay.
Okay. But yeah, I definitely I didn't know I called you on that trip though.
Mm-hmm. Said you were gonna get married.
I know, but I called it.
You did.
I mean, and he's like he's like, I don't think there could be any other human on this planet.
For you.
Not at all.
No.
Because he's like the perfect amount of like patience, but like also sit down and shut up and like kindness. And he's a servant. He loves Jesus. And he's he's a keeper for sure. Okay. Let's go through some of these questions. Let's see. I don't feel like, okay, this one, I don't know. Be honest. What were some of my insecurities back then? But like, I don't know. Do you know?
Your insecurities? Your love handles have always been your insecurity.
That's so funny. Didn't I just talk about that on the last episode?
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
That
that literally came from when Hollister jeans were a thing, like low rise.
You literally always talked about it. And I'm like, where?
Because my mom would always
where
point
are
them
they?
out.
Which you never said that back then. Like I didn't know that.
I don't think I knew that.
You didn't like comprehend like that's why you
But maybe
had that
that's
problem?
like how you said, like there were things that I didn't realize like
Yeah.
I was struggling with. Because I definitely, that was like always a thing in dance in dance costumes. Like I feel like that was always my.
And I think that also like just like having like nice clothes and like the nice things. Like you always wanted that stuff.
But I didn't have that stuff. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, that comes with the territory, but I don't feel like you were like that
Mm-mm.
or cared really.
No.
Like, I feel like you would just like wear whatever. And maybe that was
Sweatpants.
like grounding. Literally. Sweatpants, hoodies, bun, no makeup.
All the time. Still.
Okay. And we really did bond on the fact that neither of us were ever in school. Yeah. Ever. I don't know how we graduated high school because we missed a lot. We had a class together at one point, only once. Was it a literature class?
Oh, do you remember? So she was like really mean, but she loved us. What was her name? She had
Ooh.
short hair. She was the English teacher.
Was it literature?
I think so, yeah.
I do not remember, but I don't remember any teacher loving me. So tell me more.
Tell me more. I can't remember her name. I feel like it was a B or something.
B?
Maybe. I don't know.
Bradshaw?
Was it Bradshaw?
Bradshaw had short hair.
Yeah.
Not short. It was like short hair, like gray hair.
Yes. And she was a mean teacher. Like a lot of people did not like her. And I was like, oh.
I feel like we shouldn't have said her last name, but.
Oh, just kidding. I liked her. She liked me. Yeah. She was really nice to us.
Maybe she felt bad for us.
Also, I think that we had, were you in my psychology class? I feel like we had that together with
Miss Erickson?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
I don't think we were.
Oh.
No, but I do remember her classes were hilarious.
They were.
Okay. Let's see if there was one more question that we should ask on this list. I don't know. I don't feel like there is any. This isn't relevant, but where did you see me playing small or holding myself back?
I don't think you ever played small ever in your life.
Just like shoot the shot.
Yeah.
Nothing?
No. You're not like a hold it back kind of girl.
Maybe I should be sometimes.
Maybe.
Or like at least back then. It is interesting because I was never, when I said shoot my shot, that made it sound like I was like getting with guys.
No.
I never was hit on. Like you
and
and
it's so
Casey,
crazy that you say that because I don't recall that. Like, I guess I just
100%. I was never like flirted with, maybe because I was mean and obnoxious.
That might be it. I don't know that I had to be with your looks. I think they were scared
but
of
this
you.
was even like when we would go down to the city and go to the club. Like we would go to Pontiac.
You were still mean.
Oh.
Do you remember almost getting us jumped?
No.
With the sucker?
Oh, was Kellyanne with us?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I was being tough though because she was with us and I thought she could just like take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, I also think I had no desire to like be with anybody or like date or like go
like
hook up,
that's why you didn't
ever.
get, you like had the dirtiest look and you were so mean to people, guys in general. Like you guys, you were always mean to them.
Yeah, because don't talk to me. Ew.
Yeah.
Look at your goatee. It's gross.
Goatee.
I mean, we were in Pontiac. They all had a goatee. Like, get out of here. Not kidding. Just like I feel like anyone that's like in a nightclub, they're just like a creepy crawler with like weird facial hair, and they're just like,
oh, that could be why you didn't get hit on.
Okay, well, I feel like we should wait.
Did you slobber on yourself?
No.
You haven't drank any water.
I literally hate you. Okay, hold on. I'm getting out of track.
Out of track.
Should I ask all these
okay.
questions? When did you start to notice I was changing? What felt different about me? Okay. Was there a moment you thought, okay, she's not the same girl anymore? I feel like you just said that a little bit.
It was when you met Casey. Honestly. When I met Casey.
Casey's wedding. Our best friend's wedding.
Yes.
You thought I was different then?
Mm-hmm.
I acted different?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I even told Casey like he makes her like a different person.
Told my Casey?
No, told our Casey.
Our friend Casey.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It is weird. I will say I am like a huge like champion of like wait for the one because it's just the way you act, the way you show up, the way you want to be better. It's just different. I remember one time I said to him like, oh my gosh, I do not deserve you. And he was like, do not say that, because my dad always told me, like, people that say that, like, people know what they deserve. Don't say like you don't deserve something. So now I don't ever say like I don't deserve something if I like believe I do, or if I believe God sent it. Like I won't say I don't deserve this, because he was like, don't say that because I really want this to work out. I mean, it's crazy. Casey and I met like in a whirlwind. Like he was literally already on his way out of Georgia.
Yeah.
I had just moved to Georgia. He was like, I already signed up for boot camp. He actually even asked his dad, like, should we not date? And his dad was like, no, just date and see where it goes. I mean, thank God we did, because we ended up obviously being together, but it just is crazy, like the timeline of it all and like how it just worked out perfectly. My brother actually recently started dating somebody, and he is 6 years older than me. And I'm like, you know, when you just know, but also I feel like when you are looking at like your sibling, or your, maybe like when Zandy met her husband, or like you just knew he was the one for her. Right. Or like when I see you, like I could be like, this is the one. Like I feel like I see that in my brother. I told someone the other day, I said, the way they are immediately is just like Casey and I were. Like we would be around, you know, like, I don't know, when it's like a new couple and you hang out with like other people, you kind of rely on the other people to like fill the silence or like make it less awkward. Like it wasn't like that for us. And it's not like that for him and his like new girlfriend. Like they literally were at our house having dinner, and like when they were talking, like they would be talking and like we would like be interrupting them, and they're like trying to like talk about their plans and their life. And it's just cool to see that, because I feel like when you know, that's how I feel like it was with Casey for sure.
Yes.
And like, thank God. Okay. I'm going to go to this last section because I feel like we jumped way ahead on all of this. But these are good. These are good questions. Okay. How have you seen my faith? I actually think I would say it like, how have you seen my faith transform or grow over the years? I mean, from your perspective.
I feel like it was for like non-existent, but that wasn't like something we ever discussed, or
but that wasn't a thing. Like
it wasn't
the early 2000s to talk about your faith.
No, like we never prayed together, like went to church together or anything like that. But now, I mean, you're complete.
Should we pray together? We haven't done that.
Should we end this episode praying together?
I think we should pray for all of our sins we talked about. Just ask for forgiveness one more time.
I repent.
No, that is true. It is. I always like wonder. Nowadays, I see like the young girls like go to church together and like do Bible study together and all this stuff. I'm like, were people doing that?
Like, I know, like, were we just not invited? Or
I mean, I did think it was cool. Like, what was that church like out in the country that everyone
Hillside?
Is Hillside a church? Like I feel like people went there and that was like a really popular church.
In Colonial Woods, yeah. But I don't remember other than like
Christmas and Easter going to church.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. I would go to church when my grandparents were in town, but I don't think I knew God and I had faith. And I feel like I think my faith grew when I was 19. Remember when I came back for boat night? My grandmother was dying the same weekend. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Did we hang out that boat night?
Yes. Not much. I left.
Typical. I came back. I actually at the time was with a man who was Muslim.
Oh yeah.
And I had decided I didn't want to be with this guy anymore. I've actually never talked about this on here. I'm not going to go too deep into it on this current episode, but we will get back into that season of life. That was in my gypsy years. I actually skipped over those 2 years when I was like, because I was like, I feel like these 2 years need their own, because it was like Vegas, back to Orlando, Tennessee, Atlanta, Orlando, Atlanta.
Oh, yeah,
like
because you even did like Thanksgiving with Casey that one year.
Yeah, because I had come back to Atlanta and my ex that I was wanting to be with was like, no, you can't be here. And so I went to Tennessee and I stayed in her apartment.
Wow.
And then I went back and ended up being with him. But rewind, we're such squirrels.
I know.
I came home to Michigan. Grandmother was dying. She was literally on hospice. Went to boat night. And I remember, like, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was just kind of telling them about this relationship I was in, whatever. And then my grandmother ended up passing away the next day. I was at the funeral home, I think, like helping make arrangements or whatever. Ended up telling my dad about the guy that I was with and that he was Muslim. That was when I decided, like, I wanted to get out. But then also I was like, that was kind of where my faith shifted. And I ended up coming back to Michigan maybe like 6 months later because it was still cold out. No. I think it was the spring. So it must have been like 8 months later after my grandmother passed away. I was at that point no longer in that relationship with the Muslim guy and got baptized.
Oh, yeah.
At 19. Do you remember when I got baptized?
I do remember that, actually.
So I would say that was like when I started to like get into my faith. But then I was going to church. So when I went back to Orlando, I was regularly going to a church. But I don't know if I ever told you about this. I feel like I have like church hurt from this. I went to church one day and the pastor, I wish I could remember the name of this church. Hold on. I went back to the church and I went in for a sermon or for service one day, and the pastor came out on the stage and he was like admitting that he had this affair with this woman in the service. His wife and his kids were in the front row. Like, and he was like admitting it. I think they'd already known, they were like there to show their support. Like, we're forgiving him. But I was like, huh? This is crazy. And that was like my first real like church experience. Cause I mean, we didn't really go growing up. Like we would go Christmas, like Easter, whatever, or like if my grandparents were in town. But I feel like you went to church more than I did.
Yeah.
Like with your mama and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I think that shook me a little bit. Like, I mean, as it would.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people, this is off topic, like think that people that are in the church are like supposed to be like these perfect people.
Correct.
And like, and it is hard because you like look up to your pastor and like Christians are supposed to be
perfect. Yeah.
And they're,
well, and that's like kind of everything we talked about on this is like all this crazy stuff that we've been through. And like, we do proclaim ourselves to be Christians and we do desire to live right for the Lord, but like, we're also human and not a single one of us is perfect. That's why Jesus died on the cross for our sins. Like, because we will fall short of a perfect God every single day. And it is crazy because like I did still go to church after that. I ended up finding a different church and I like consistently went. And when Casey and I met, we both went to church together. And I think that might be what made the difference in our relationship. Like why my relationship with him, other than I believe God like made us for each other, but like from day one, we went to church together. Now we were still sinful. I mean, I obviously got pregnant with Riley before we were ever married. We had only known each other like 4 months. We told the bank story. Like we were sinful for sure, but like I think we were taking steps to like grow in our faith and like be a little bit more obedient. And I think that's really what I'm most proud of in my like journey from like bratty Brandi to bratty Brandi to now is like just the maturity in my faith of like actually living it out. Because there were also several years where I claimed I was a Christian, claimed the gospel, but didn't live it out.
Right.
Like I still sinned and I never felt convicted for my sins. Like I think it's one thing to sin and ask for forgiveness, but then to keep doing it.
For sure.
Like I think that that's probably what I feel like I'm most proud of, like my growth from then to now. But I think we both have grown like that because like it's not like you were already there and we're like,
No.
she'll get here eventually, guys. I think we
No.
didn't have that.
No, not
I
at
don't
all.
know though. I feel like I looked at your family as like you guys did. Like I would say if I had to like just overall an idea of your family, I would say you guys were like faithful people.
Yeah.
Like but did your dad go to church like when we were young?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I felt like we had the influence.
We did.
We were just like, fart in a windstorm. Okay. If someone is listening, I feel like it probably to the viewers looks like I am like, those dating cards that I actually gifted those to Robert, my brother.
Oh Lord.
Those dating cards where you like are at a first date and you're like, well, let me see what questions we can ask. Okay. If someone is listening who feels like the version who relates to or is the version of me that I knew back then, what would you tell her? And I will say, I talked a lot the other day about how I used to, and maybe you agree with this, like in the sense of like when you say bratty, I guess me elaborating on that a little bit, I shared a lot about how I know I used to make my problems everyone else's problem. If I was in a bad mood, I did not care. Like my mood is your mood. Like I would throw a fit, and like even when I worked at Disney, like I just didn't care how I treated people, and like I wasn't willing to like conform to anything.
Yeah.
And like that was something I had to learn really hard when I worked at Disney. Like, no, you don't get to just come small town girl. Like I feel like in Port Huron, it was okay. It was just like, oh, that's just her.
I know. I don't remember what we got into a fight about at Nick's one time, but it was like mopping the floor or something. Or filling the ice bucket. I don't know. Do you remember that? We like got into a huge fight about it.
Yeah, no. We worked at a little diner, had 20 tables.
Remember,
What was
because
our first
Nick would
job?
always make fun of us, and he's like, "I'm gonna punch you in the face."
He's from Albania. That's why she's talking like that.
To you. And every time he would be like, "Do you remember that time you said to Brandi?
I'm gonna punch you in the face." No, remember we worked at that little diner, and do you call it a diner?
Yeah.
I loved it. I feel like they don't have those down here.
No,
And
you don't.
no, but that was like our first big girl job together. We waited tables, and I remember we were like, we're so good. And then remember Loretta, the owner, sat us down, was like, everybody doesn't like you girls because you guys are really slow and you're not good waitresses. And we were like, what? And then we ended up being like the best.
We were.
Like, we were like, get it together.
Cut the floor. Just leave us.
Literally ran that place. And we made really good money there.
Couldn't show for it.
I missed that. We partied that money away. Okay, so the girl that can relate to Brandi, she has not grown out of her ways.
What's
your
our
best advice?
Jesus? Open that Bible
Open that Bible, girl.
and just surrender.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would be like the only, I think obviously like having a relationship with Jesus, but I would also say this coming from somebody that is that person or was that person, like you don't have to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, like, to an extent, yes, you should apologize to the people that you've hurt and like fix the damage that you can fix, but also like it's okay to start fresh and like to not hold that guilt and shame and like baggage on your back, and just because like I've even talked about this before where like I kind of brought some of that into my marriage. And Casey and I've had to work through where he's like, sometimes I'm on eggshells because I don't know what your mood's going to be because you're overwhelmed with a lot of things. And so when I get really, really stressed and overwhelmed, sometimes I kind of revert back to that like tendency because it is like ingrained deep into me. And sometimes I have to just like come to Jesus, right? But I remember thinking like once we did therapy, I remember thinking like he's never going to believe I can change, because it was almost like he would always question it. Like when I was starting to change, he would like question like, yeah, but you're just going to do this again. And I actually try not to do that with my kids. Like, even like if they're having like a tantrum or a bad attitude, I try not to like say things like, oh, but I know you're just going to throw a fit. Like, I don't want to put that on
Right.
them, like project that onto them. And I feel like that's how I felt in my marriage. Like, he's not believing me that I'm changing. Like, so you don't have to, I guess, like, be ashamed or embarrassed of what that was, but also know that people will believe you that you're going to change if you just prove it, like, over
Right.
time, you know? I didn't talk over you, right? I didn't. It said, don't polish her answers. I was like, did I polish your answers?
No.
Okay. Last question is, what are you? Ew, I don't even want to look at you when I say this. Is embarrassing.
What? Why?
Well, the last question says, what are you most proud of me for? You kind of already said it a little bit, but
I feel like I don't know that there's like one thing that I'm most proud of you for. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm proud of you for. But I
Yeah.
think, honestly, maybe the the mom that you are. Sad. And
and cut. Oh
no, but you're just like so intentional with your parenting, and yeah.
you are too, though.
Okay, we're gonna end crying. What is happening?
No, actually, though, it is crazy. Stop.
I know, because I didn't think that, like, I mean, I didn't think that you would be a good parent, and nobody ever thought that I would ever even be a parent. Because I did not like kids.
Like, yeah, I don't give those two kids. Okay, but
our kids are like, you're the same mom.
No, actually, they this week was the first week our kids as they're old enough to remember have spent like a meaningful amount of time together. First of all, it like makes me so happy. They love each other.
They do.
They are like
Both of them crying because they don't want to go home.
I know. But like they got along so good, but also probably because we do parent pretty similar. Like,
yeah. They're like, oh, your mom doesn't let you do that? Oh, neither does mine.
No, they were literally, the boys were sitting in bed going, I came in there and I said, what are you guys talking about? And they said, Doritos, red and blue, because we're not allowed to eat red dye at home. And Alon's like, bro, same. No, I agree. I feel like that's like a mutual thing because I have said that to you before. Like, it's so crazy. You're a mom and a good one. Like, you care and you're like present and like you love them. And I feel like both of us just like want to be with our kids. Like,
yeah, all the time.
All the time. Like, I'm going to freak out all the time when I'm with them and like probably be yelling at them and like get your life together. But like,
I just want to break, but don't go too far.
yeah, like just go to the backyard. Like, don't leave, just the backyard. I think it's like proven that real, like intentional friendships that can like go through all the seasons with you matter. And not everybody has like their childhood. I mean, obviously we didn't know each other when we were like babies, but like, I mean, you've literally known me through like every season and we've seen each other through a lot of crazy things. And there's been ebbs and flows of like, sometimes we talk all the time and sometimes we don't talk at all. I mean, there was like that good like 2-year period where it was like
barely ever.
Yeah. And remember that one time I accidentally unfriended you on Facebook? How mad you were at me.
I like went to tag you in something. I'm like, I can't tag you. What is happening?
I don't know why. I think my like assistant did it. Yeah. It was not intentional.
And I thought it was. I was like, this is crazy. Like, she really is.
Oh, you made it? Okay. No, she was so mad at me. And then you were even more mad at me the next year because it said, happy 1-year anniversary. You're like, we literally have been friends forever. I think it's just so powerful to be able to have friendship. Like, and lately I've really realized this, like friendships that point you to Jesus, friendships that mirror your values are so important. Like when you're older, you don't have a time for a lot of people. Like, so it makes a difference, the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So grateful for you. Let's not cry anymore.
I know. We're not going to.
We're not those people. We're not. What happened? Why is this down here? We're not those people. We don't cry.
We don't hug.
Have we ever cried together? That feels like we don't get deep, but I feel like we do.
Yeah.
We're
like the dark humor where we like laugh it off.
That is true. We do have a lot. She is looking down on us right now. I'm not proud of. That's my least proud jokes. I took Alexa to Hawaii for a work trip / her birthday
Mm-hmm.
right after her mom passed away. And this is not intentional. I just accidentally kept saying your mom. And just so you know, Hope, her mom, is looking down from heaven with the same look she's always looked at me with. Like she's going to beat my butt. Like, get out of my house. It was like she loved me, but like she did not want me in her house.
Because you would play with your hair at her dinner table.
Did I?
Anybody, if you like touched your face or touched your hair at the dinner table, it was
I don't ever remember sitting at a dinner table at your mom's.
the kitchen counter.
Oh, did I do that? Probably a lot.
And
Yeah.
you were just very outspoken and loud.
Yes. Oh man. We're going to have a part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. Go hug your childhood bestie.